just got this out knowing I was going to speak it with you guys. This was my Bob Goff life plan in 2020. So 5 years ago, this was the plan. So here's the idea. A hope without a plan is a wish. And so some of you are wishing for better marriages and better balance in your life. And I have felt like when I was spending my time trying to find balance, I spent so much time trying to find balance, I felt like I almost tipped over. But when I started pursuing purpose, when I started kind of figuring out a plan to get there, then now I had a target I was aiming for. And you guys you're all wildly successful in the marketplace. But what works in the marketplace in some respects will work in your relationships. In other respects, the things that work in the marketplace will do tremendous damage to your relationships. It'll get you pulling in late and finding help wanted signs. Now, Maria has kept on that sign all these years, but we're 38 years into it. And so I think that was about year 3. And so she's not holding that sign like the sword of Damocles over my head every day, but knowing that there's a desire for both of us to make impact, to do legacy things with our life, we're making a shift from will it work to will it last, right? So many of the things that have brought you success in the marketplace, they worked. A couple didn't, more did. But what we're trying to do is see it through that filter. And so wherever you are in this adventure, whether you're at the hunt and gather stage, says you've probably heard this before, the 6 or 7 stages of life. There's early 20s, figuring out who you're going to be married to. There's hunting and gathering. And then there's the 30s and 40s, the warrior kind of years, like we're going to do this thing against all odds. And then 50s and 60s, you start moving more towards like sage and more towards, are you going to be a village elder? Not like self-proclaimed, but can you do that for whatever size your village is? And so think of the people that you love, maybe the people that you made, certainly the people that you married, and to say, what are some of the principles that I want to have, almost like axiomatic of this marriage? And so here's another wide spot. Marie and I decided that we would adopt this rule: 100% kindness and 0% drama. And that's been a really helpful idea for us. That's why junior high school is difficult, because it's 100% drama and 0% kindness. So think about this when you're approaching things, knowing that we're very different, that our hearts could be together, but we're very different people. If we can say kindness, not drama. So I don't want to give airtime, a lot of oxygen to drama and hurt feelings. It's not ignoring those, but to say, man, I just want to really focus on the kindness piece. Because that is going to be the thing that's the defining characteristic of your marriage. And here's where the rub comes, is that you as a group and me are very ambitious. Like we see things and we just we do it, like ready, shoot, aim. Some of you have good plans, but what has been your secret sauce, what's made it very successful, is that you see these opportunities. It's a camp, it's a whatever. And so another wide spot in the road is, as a lawyer, there was no time off. Like they had a sabbatical program. Every 14 years, you get like 7 minutes off. And so I was a partner at this law firm. And when my kids got big enough to like walk and talk and say interesting things, I told these guys, I'm going to take 3 months every summer and spend it with my family. Oh, these guys lost their ish. They're like, you cannot do that. And so I didn't argue with them. Just one Monday, I just wasn't there. I came back 3 months later. They were so pissed. I'm like, whatever, sue me. So what I want us to do is to make some of your plans, instead of picking your career and then backfilling your life, let's pick our life and backfill our career. And it sounds kind of like you can just like say that, but you could actually engineer it. You could do one of these, like come up the plan. And so the second year I did that with the partners, they had a cow again. I didn't want them to be bummed out a third year, so I just quit. And when you push back from the table at a big law firm, you leave all of your chips. And so it was like not like we were sitting on bags of money instead of IKEA furniture. So but that idea, kind of that Cortez burn the ships kind of model, has given you like some success in the marketplace. I want you to think about burning some ships when it comes to your relationship with your wife, with your husband, your kids. Like just say, what would it look like if I push back from the table? And so I'm not trying to maximize like everything at once because you can't maximize all the chips and all the time. And so when I pushed back from the table, we were like broke. But we figured out like, let's just start it again. So I started my own law firm. And I started hiring people that are like super smart. And I only made one rule. I take June, July, and August off every single year. So if you set a trial, I hope you win because I ain't going to be there. So making some decisions and letting people know, like, look at this face. I'm not kidding. I smile a lot, but I am not kidding. And so for the next 25 years, for every 3 months, every single year, we took our kids and we went up to Canada. We started building this place, which was so fun. And I'm back to that idea of getting adjacent to a project together that we're working on. And so this place served our family really well when my boys had girlfriends with their parents' permissions. Like we would come up for a couple months. I'd sew the boys in potato sacks every night. Um, and those boys ended up marrying those girls. My daughter ended up marrying her husband because we had something that was like a common thread. And I feel like my relationship with Maria grew because we had a common purpose. While our the way we approach life is very different, our hearts are beating together on that thing. And so it doesn't need to be a big place offshore somewhere, but it can be a shared experience. It was started out with a boat. We found out the land was available. We got that. We had a great thing, but I was sharing with Pete before we started. I'm starting to spin wherever you are on this timeline. In my 60s now, I'm thinking about legacy. I'm not saying will it work, I'm saying will it last. And so when I think of like just the taxes, insurance, my kids couldn't keep up with that. And so someday I'm going to end up in a jar or a snow globe. I haven't decided. I think I just, yeah. So we ended up starting what I thought would be a 10-year process of selling this. And it took about 2 weeks to find just the right people. And so this past week, we've been up there with all the kids, just kind of saying our goodbyes. Here's the thing that I've learned in another wide spot in the road, maybe for your notes, is that these memories are not flammable. They're not disposable. They're not we just went to each place and thought of all the memories we'd created. And what I'm trying to do is make a legacy move. And we want to do that as a family. We're building a university in Gulu, Uganda. And we want to bring the same kind of joy and whimsy and expectation. Sometimes what you've seen in business will serve you really well in relationship. Your ability to look around corners that you see trends, you see things that are happening, you say, I think something really beautiful could come of this. And so, even though we're in the middle of this burn the ships moment again, which is to sell this thing, what we want to do is create a legacy piece.